It's like, you got a clown suit you got ready for me? Ain't no way. Jerry West and the Clippers can do this.
I can't believe you just said all that.
Why?
Look, I have nothing but love and respect for the logo. Jerry West, great guy, great recruiter, great team builder. But I don't agree with anything else you said. I don't think the Clippers have more assets to give San Antonio than the Lakers do. If I can get Brandon Ingram, Kyle Kuzma, those are two. Ingram's a number 2 pick. Kuzma is a lottery-level talent. Those two, Greg Popovich could work wonders with them in San Antonio. And if he wants Lonzo Ball, he's another guy, high-level talent that could really help San Antonio.
He wants no parts of Lonzo Ball.
I
no
get
parts
that.
of.
But here's
Let me stop you on one other thing. Ramona Shelburne has already reported today the Spurs shut the Lakers down. The Lakers have shown their hand to them, and they're not interested. Popovich agrees with me.
The Lakers certainly would be the last team they want to deal with, but they also don't want to send Kawhi to the West. And they don't want to give Kawhi what he wants, which is Los Angeles, period. If it can't be the Lakers, he'd take the Clippers. So I think the Clippers, they might not get hung up on as quickly as the Lakers, but they'll get hung up on too.
Yeah, it's funny. I kind of heard while you were saying everything, I'm like, you know what? That could be a possibility, but it makes sense in theory. But I don't think money-wise it could work. They do have some assets with Lou Will, the 2 draft picks tonight in the lottery. They could try to put together to get a Kawhi. But then after that, they're kind of strapped on the cap side. DeAndre Jordan will have to opt out to restructure his deal. Austin Rivers will have to restructure his deal.
Who's the richest man in the NBA?
But that doesn't matter.
He'll pay the luxury tax.
He can pay.
You spending his money,
though. That doesn't matter. There's a salary cap that if they only have $12 million worth of room or whatever, it doesn't matter. They can't even get into
the... You can pay the tax.
You can't sign a player if you don't have the room.
Okay, you gotta have the spot. I get what you're saying. Keep going, Eddie.
So they also have the guy, Milos, I don't know, Teodosic or whatever his name is.
Yeah,
he's also under, but the rest of the team, if you look at him, you take Lou Williams away, you have Kawhi, and then you bring LeBron, there's nothing else there for them to really work with and move forward with. You're going to have guys like Gallinari on your team. You're going to have basically the same cast of characters from the Cavaliers with just different last names and different numbers.
Another thing that's kind of going around the league on the low is that this Lakers thing with LeBron, just like with Dan Gilbert and LeBron, the thinking was there could be a wink-wink ownership type thing with this. In the future, obviously, you can't do it as a player.
They're not giving LeBron James ownership of the Lakers.
Not total ownership, but some ownership.
Why would they didn't do it for Kobe. They haven't done it for... Have they even done it for Magic?
I'm just telling you what's going around a little bit, all right?
I don't
and
buy it.
I could see that being something. I also think you gonna tell me if you win a championship with the Clippers, that's bigger than with the Lakers? Come on.
It's borderline.
How? How is it even borderline? Nobody cares about the Clippers.
Yeah, but then they'll start to care about them.
Did they care about Brooklyn when they were actually pretty good with Joe Johnson, Darren Williams,
but they didn't
Kevin
win the championship.
But in New York,
the
Knicks were still the biggest story in New York. Did the Clippers totally eclipse the Lakers in the last 5 years when they actually had their big three?
Hold for 1 second. The Brooklyn Nets never had the biggest attraction in all of sports, let alone the NBA. They never had that. Once LeBron James showed up, who were the Cleveland Cavaliers before LeBron James?
But at least it was his hometown. I'm not saying they wouldn't be big.
You come to the Clippers and you tell me the LeBron James people who think he's the greatest of all time wouldn't sit there and say, he made the Cavaliers relevant and took them to a championship. Now he takes the laughing stock of the NBA and makes them champions, makes it so they can build this arena in Inglewood. You're talking about Steve Ballmer, the richest guy. He's worth $40 billion.
But again,
you're talking about Jerry.
That's irrelevant.
It's not irrelevant. Having that much money is never.
Tax, but I mean, he still has to work within the rules of the league.
And you're telling me Jerry West can't put together some kind of deal. He and Doc Rivers haven't sat down and figured out a way they can make it work. You can't tell me the Clippers aren't eyeing LeBron and Kawhi Leonard and have figured out a way that they can make it work?
It's going to be hard. They're going to have to deplete their roster. But I agree with you on this fact. With LeBron, we do know this. He respects Jerry West, and he respects the heck out of Doc Rivers. So in theory, that sounds good, but Lakers is the only place though that he could land up because of the cap space, because they have all these guys signed to these rookie deals. Luol Deng is the only contract that's crazy in $18 million, and they're trying to dump that. I mean, they're going to create more space, and they're going to have the opportunity to bring LeBron, to possibly bring Kawhi, and maybe another guy.
One, if he wants to just win for a woe-begone franchise, go to New York. That would be bigger than the Clippers and maybe even the Lakers if he could do that.
Doesn't have the weather.
And he stays
doesn't
in the
have
East.
two homes.
He stays in the East.
Does he have two homes in New York? Does he have two homes in New York?
No.
He's got two homes out in Los Angeles.
Let me say, look, Doc, and I know you played for Doc, and most of the players who left the Clippers ripped Doc when they left. Big Baby Davis, Jared Dudley, Chris Paul, that's one.
You just said Big Baby
Chris
Davis.
Paul, one of the major reasons, if not the major reason he left the Clippers was to get away from Doc. Who's Chris Paul's best friend? LeBron. You don't think LeBron's heard those horror stories? Now, I'm not saying LeBron doesn't have respect for Doc, but I don't know if he's
like. You know what that's like?
As big of a draw.
Remember when you were young and single years and years ago, your best friend didn't like some girl and bad-mouthed her, but you was like, no, you didn't know what you was doing. That's exactly how LeBron...
Doc had championship-level talent for the last, 4 or 5 years, and they got to the second round.
And Chris Paul was getting hurt, and Chris Paul's... A lot of those guys was ripping Doc for this reason because he's paid his son. Everybody's talking about, man, he giving his son all that money. And I took a step back because I have 3 kids. If I'm in that position, I will pay him too. I mean, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you empower your kids to get some money?
And you get ripped and criticized.
And so what? And you could go home at the end of the night and sleep well.
Honest to goodness, though. Honest to goodness. If you're LeBron James and or Kawhi Leonard, and you take a meeting with the Lakers or the Clippers, and Jerry West, Steve Ballmer, and Doc Rivers are sitting in one room, and Magic, Jenny Buss, and Luke Walton are sitting in the other room.
And Rob Pelinka. Don't forget him.
We just comparing the 3 that had. We just going.
You gonna leave out the GM?
Well, and all right, Rob Pelinka sitting in one room. What's more impressive, Eddie?
I think.
What? Tell the truth.
Well, you got Doc and you got the logo there, but you also have Magic.
Thank you.
And Magic steps up. But this is the thing: you got to look at what kind of team are you gonna have. If he comes to the Lakers, you know that he's able to attract 3, possibly 2 more big-time free agents, and then they got good young talent that surround them, and then sprinkle a free agent, a veteran here and there. With the Clippers, there's nothing that they can do. They're so strapped that they're like their hands are tied. It sounds great in theory. That would be good. That would be a great story, but I just think that there's no way that could possibly happen.
And of the guys you mentioned, who's the biggest person in L.A.?
Magic?
Of the guys that I mentioned, who's the biggest person? Magic. But let me finish. Let me finish my statement. Once LeBron moves to L.A., Magic then becomes number 2.
Well, Magic is big, though, off the court. He's made all of it. I mean, he only made about $30 million as a player. He's worth like $700 million. Not that LeBron necessarily needs a mentor. He certainly doesn't in that regard. But don't think Magic's not saying, this city can be yours, just like it's mine. It can be yours.
And you know what Steve Ballmer will say? Magic is a fly on an elephant's rear end in comparison to me in terms of clout internationally, globally, in L.A., in Brentwood, in Compton. He's nothing compared to me.
But with that...
And if you really want to know how to get this money, trust me over LeBron. And that's going to make perfect sense to LeBron James. In anybody.
Who can relate better to LeBron, Steve Ballmer or Magic Johnson?
Doc Rivers. No.
We talking about them too with their money. We talking about the fly on the elephant's rear end. Who could he gonna listen to that bzz, bzz, bzz
when LeBron
over that elephant stomping?
When LeBron faltered in the finals, 2011 against Dallas, one of the guys he contacted. I know he contacted Jerry West, but he also contacted Magic. What am I doing wrong? How can I get over the hump? Learn how to win. That's how much respect he has for him.
Pat Riley got him to go to Miami. Jerry West is the older version of Pat Riley. Jerry West
had Wade and Bosh.
Yeah, he didn't have Wade and Bosh coming there, and he had to take a pay cut as well. They all had to make the same amount of money. Everybody else made minimum except Mike Miller on the
I'm a gambler.
Mid-level.
I'm a gambler. And I don't know if y'all know anything about it. Long money always wins. Always wins. Steve Ballmer's got the longest money. the Buss family doesn't even compare to him financially. And
No,
trust
they
me,
don't.
and
That's why I
LeBron's
think
mindset
ownership could be
right. LeBron's mindset. I don't. He can see what Magic is in comparison to Steve Ballmer and who he's going. That room, and Eddie, you dodged, I think, on this. That room, Ballmer, Doc Rivers, Jerry West, is more impressive than any room the Lakers could put together. You can throw Kareem and whoever else.
No, you can't throw
dig
Kareem.
Wilt Gray.
LeBron is
Wilt out of a
buddies
grave.
with Warren Buffett. He can get all the advice he needs from Warren Buffett. I mean, not that he would neglect advice from Steve Ballmer, but still, he doesn't need that type of person. He's already got those type of people in his life.
Eddie, you still with me?
I said
he
in
ain't
theory.
with you.
I said in theory. I
They
said in
don't-
theory.
there's a lot
I
of
never said I was with. I said in theory. Yeah, it's too hard.
I guarantee when we go to commercial break, Eddie will be like, I kind of like your idea.